Hi, Kathy. Welcome.
Hi, Cathy. Ça va?
Ça va et toi? Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Everybody
Solange.
good?
Hi, everyone.
So
Solange est venue?
So nice to
Hier.
be together.
Baruch Hashem.
Elle est chez elle.
Ah, good. Elle a fait l'hôtel.
Oui. Ouais.
That's bad. Ouais.
No choice.
I know. Combien de nuits?
2. 2 nuits,
Wow.
3 jours. Ben, elle est
Which
rentrée
one?
après-midi.
Which one she went?
Hilton. Oh, Hilton suite. The
Ah,
suite.
oh,
Allez à
yeah.
l'aéroport.
Yeah, we're just giving a few more minutes.
For everyone
so
to come
some
in.
people
Hi,
to come
Ilana.
in.
Nice to see you. Hi, Paula.
Hello, Sylvia.
Hi, Claudine.
So
Hi,
nice to see you. Hello,
Michelle.
Claudine.
Hi, everyone.
Solange.
Hi, Adam.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Bernadine. Hello, Adam. Michelle.
Helen. Simone.
Ça va, les enfants?
Yeah. Ça va bien, merci. Ça va. Et chez vous? Tout va bien?
I think it might be this one.
So, we want to welcome everyone. Want to welcome everyone tonight for another stop in our journey. And tonight we chose that we will be visiting France. And I'm not sure if they're on yet or they're coming on, but a very special couple who the wife, the Rebbitzin, is a longtime friend of Dina's, who with her husband have been serving in La Salle Saint Cloud for many years, which is really part of Paris, and we will get a chance to hear about France. Before we begin and welcome the couple who are so generous and are up, even though to them it's hours later, it's the middle of the night. We want to give a chance to be live, and we're all interested to know what's going on in France. But as well, we are still reeling from the terrible tragedy of what happened just this past Thursday night in Miron, or early Friday morning. 45 souls, holy souls, who passed away, and the many who are still in need of a recovery, some in critical condition. So I thought to start off, we will say a chapter of Tehillim together, chapter 20 of Tehillim, and I'll say it slow, you can say it with me, so we can have in mind that they all recover fully, and all the families who lost children, who lost fathers, grandfathers, and as well, parents who lost children, something that no one ever should experience, should all have a nechama, should all have a comfort. So we'll say together, Lam Natseach Mizmor LeDavid, Yancha Adinoi Biyom Sarah Yisagevcha Shem Elohei Yaakov, Yishlach Ezracha Mikodesh Umitzion Yisadeka, Yiskar Kol Minchasecha V'alascha Yidashne Sela, Yitein Lecha Chilvavecha V'chal Atzatcha Yimalei. Niranana Bishuatecha, Uveshem Eloheinu Nidgol, Yimale Adonai Kol Mishalasecha, Ata Yodati, Koshia Adonai Mishicho, Yaneu Mishmei Kocho, Bigvurot Yesha Yemino, Eile Varechev, Ve'eile Basusim, Vanachnu B'Shem Adonai Eloheinu Naskir, Hema Karu V'Nafalu, Vanachnu Kamnu V'Nisodad, Adonai Hoshia, Hamelech Ya'anenu, V'Yom Kareinu. May Hashem hear all our prayers, to answer them quickly for all those who need to recover and all those around the world as well who need to recover. At this moment, I want to hand over the spotlight to my wife, Dina, Rebbetzin Dina, because this is not only just meeting another country, another place, and France is a very big country. I think outside of Israel and Russia, France is the largest country of Jews in the world, but yet so much has been heard about France. Quebec feels a little bit of a connection to France, French, even though I think it's a different French in France than here. But we feel a connection, and many French people live here in Quebec. Many people from Morocco came through France here. Many have family there. So it's very special to be able to have a couple with us who live in a town, but they're part of the French Jewish experience. Adina will do the introduction to her friend and her husband, and we look forward to having a beautiful evening and being listening and being inspired, and hopefully leaving with, I'm sure we'll leave with a lot of positive feelings.
Anyway, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to see you all on here again tonight. We've had such a fun time touring all these great places. Lately, we've done a lot of Europe, so I think we're almost done Europe, almost.
We almost have an EU passport already.
Exactly,
No?
we almost have an EU passport already by now. We can almost physically go there. Anyway, I'm really excited tonight to introduce my friend and her husband, Brindy and Rabbi Mendy Alush. Brindy is an American-born girl. She'll tell you all about her life, how she got to Paris, how she got to France, and she will talk to you about, basically what they're doing there, and then the rabbi is going to ask his questions that he usually asks. So without further ado,
Only
Rabbi
Brindy
Mendy.
and Rabbi Mendy.
No, wait. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Rabbi Mendy and his wife Brindy to start.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you ended up in France as a couple, serving as in the leadership, as a rabbi, a shliach.
So you can both talk.
Go ahead. Hi, everybody. First of all, you guys are very, very lucky to have such a wonderful Rebbetzin in Montreal, because Dina's my very, very good friend.
Again,
So-
forget the rabbi, right? You see, we're just talking about the women, right? Joking.
And your wonderful Rabbi Maishi also. We came to France. First, we started off, we were supposed to go on shlichus to Tunisia. So we left Crown Heights in a day and a half, packed everything up, and decided to pack up and go to our shlichus in Tunisia. We came to Tunisia. We worked there for 3 months, but they don't allow Jews to have a visa, so we had to leave. And then when we came back to France, the head shliach of France asked us if we wanted to be shluchim in the city. And I don't know if you know how Paris works, but Paris has 20 arrondissements, which means that there's 20 sections. And basically, if you're shliach in Paris, you don't really feel your community, because people move around from one place to the next. It's harder to feel a small community. So we decided to take a suburb of Paris. And we were one of the first shluchim of the new generation of Rabbi Zimov's shluchim. Because basically, Rabbi Zimov started a huge campaign in France. Put together, he makarved a lot of Jews, and he has over, how many families today?
Few thousand.
quite a few thousand, thanks to his shlichus that he started as a 20-something-year-old bacher. And my husband's family became from with Rav Azimov. And so my husband was like the first one, many shluchim of from his generation. And we became shluchim in a small community right outside Paris called La Salle Saint Cloud. We were like, to situate ourselves, we're 5 minutes from Versailles and 15 minutes by car to Paris.
Now, you're an American-born girl. How did the language, tell us a little bit how you managed getting around.
Don't ask such a question.
Language, culture.
I came to France. I didn't know anything. My sister taught me one sentence, jamais de ma vie. That's all I knew, which means never in my life, which basically summed everything up because I never thought in my life that I could live in France. First year was horrible, very hard to get used to things. I was used to the big city, everything in huge. In France, everything is petit. There's like a petit bag of sugar and a petit bag of farine and a petit machine à laver and a washing machine and a petit, dryer. I had to get used to everything being in small. But slowly, it took me a whole year to say I always talk, I never shut up. And it took me a full year to actually come out with a full sentence.
And you had Rabbi Mendy, I'm sure, who helped you with the language as well.
She did not help herself. She's still keeping for her American accent. She will never change. And some people are coming to her shiurim, the courses, only to listen to her American accent. The message it's not so much important like her smile or her accent.
Yeah, but
That
she
we're
does
sure.
speak French fluently now,
Yeah,
but
but-
with her American accent.
She has very, very rich accent, very rich French with beautiful accent. Like my French accent.
So, and you speak a pretty good English, which is good. How many years ago did you take up a position in La Salle Saint Cloud? How many years ago was this?
25 years ago this year.
So what was it like when you came there as a Jewish community, as a Jewish place? What was it like, and what did you see as your main
So
and your main activities to get started, and how have things built?
the main activity first was to be Jew and to find a Jew, because in our shul we had between 6 to 9 old guy, and we did not have a minyan.
By the way, you can talk a little bit in French
Yeah, you
also. A
could
lot of
talk
people
French,
here
a lot
speak
of people
French.
people, okay.
Yeah,
So-
mix a little, it's fine, it's good.
It was a
Not
shul,
yeah.
private synagogue. We opened with few dozen of people. When we came, we had only between 8 to 12 people, and some old president of the community, very a lot of chayut he had, but he was taking his car, and every day, every time we need to have a minyan, he was picking up another old
Every
guy.
Shabbos.
Every Shabbos also. Someone who was 100 years old. And the minyan was not really a minyan. No women in shul, no young people in shul. Very old synagogue. But slowly, when we came with my wife, we decided to change. We didn't start being the rabbi, just a shliach. So he had a rabbi in the community. Most of the time, he did not have any minyan. And after he left, and the community asked us to be the shluchim and the rabbi. So when we started, the first thing we did was to buy. We made a sondage.
A survey.
We made a survey. How many people want to send the kids to the Jewish school? So when you have people of between 80 to 100 years old, so you have to look for the kids. So only one old guy, his name was Goldstein, he told me, my grandchildren. He's the only one who answered. So with my wife, we decided to buy a bus. But we have no children. 2 years later, we had one of our children, and another family, a woman, divorced woman, had 3 girls. One was already old, and 2 others,
Yeah.
two twin sisters. So the 2 twin sisters came to this bus. It was an 18-place bus with one of my child. My son was traveling to the center of Paris. It's called the 19th arrondissement.
Yeah.
And these 2 girls was traveling to Maïmonide in Boulogne. It's the suburb of Paris. So the bus was leaving at 6:30 in the morning, dropping the 2 girls, traveling to the center of Paris, leaving at 6:30, coming to 9 to school. And by evening, my child was finishing at 4:15. He was traveling to the other school, waiting for the 2 other girls to come out, and the bus was coming home between 6:30 and 7 at night, 7 o'clock by night.
Wow.
3
Oh,
kids,
fine. That's-
one of mine. A few months later, another family joined. A year later, we have already a full 18 bus. The
The
kids
bus was full.
was
Right.
bus was full. A year later, we sold the bus, bought another big bus of 30 places, and the shluchim around also put the children inside, and comment on dit, les enfants de leur communauté.
And the local shluchim who were not too far from us, and the kids in their community started coming too.
So the bus was also full for a few years like this. We had more of 300 children who came like this to Jewish school.
Wow.
Thanks to the busing, yeah. Thanks to
Yeah.
the transportation.
So the shul start slowly to fill up. It was very tough. Take many years. Today we have בערך 100 people in shul Shabbos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Many children. We opened the school last year.
In
We
your
started
city.
last year with 9
In
children.
your area.
Just a little thing. One of the girls from the bus.
So this is the
Oh,
important.
go ahead.
No, vas-y.
No, one of the 2 girls, the twins from the bus, became a shliach in Netanya,
Wow, in
in the
Israel.
French community in Netanya.
Wow, that's incredible.
Last year, I bumped into her at the
Kinnis.
Congress, at the Kinnis, at the Congress of Shluchim.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So you opened up a school last year.
Last year.
Yeah. It's our 2nd year.
Last year, 9 children. This year, 32 children.
Wow.
Right now, next year, 50 kids.
Wow.
So how many families live there? Like, do you know, or like you're always finding new families or people that you're discovering?
Till 5 years ago, every family who came to this part of France was to be far away of Judaism. No school, no shul, no mikveh, no the kosher store. People want to hide. 5 years ago, a big change happened. Today we have many Frum family are coming here because we opened a mikveh, a kosher store,
Wow.
and the shul is very, very nice ambience.
Wow. So this is the only shul. This is the only synagogue in
Yeah.
Asosek
Wow.
too. So, it's interesting. I want to just come in, and this is something I was thinking of asking later. You opened up a school last year. Many people are thinking, all we hear from a lot of the people, and people have family, and we read in the papers, and is we hear that people are running away from France. Things are falling apart. And here you say you opened up a school last year, a new school last
With
year,
9 kids
and
now
9, now 32, next year
and
50.
Like,
Is this something unique in your city, or we'd love to hear more about in your city, or this is going on in other places in France as well, that things are opening and growing in Judaism and Yiddishkeit?
So Mrs. Rikta Kedoshim say maybe I should speak in
Yeah.
French. So
yeah.
I told you can talk in
Yeah,
French a bit.
a
That's
lot.
So
fine.
she will give the translation. On fait comme ça?
Go ahead.
Ok,
Oui,
on fait.
oui,
Yeah,
tu
yeah,
peux
oui,
parler
oui,
en
yeah.
français.
La Salle Saint-Cloud, c'est une ville qui est assez isolée. C'est pas des grandes villes. C'est une ville avec à peu près 30 000 personnes qui habitent, 30 000 citoyens. Très peu de familles juives initialement. Et petit à petit, il y a de nombreuses familles qui viennent s'installer. Le cadre de vie est agréable. On est dans les forêts de Rambouillet, les forêts de Versailles. C'est très joli ici. C'est pas mal de résidences, très peu d'immeubles. Donc les gens, ils cherchent un cadre de vie. Les immeubles de Paris, les gens, ils sont saturés avec ça. Vas-y, tu veux traduire?
We live in a very nice suburb, which is like in the right next to the forest of Versailles. Like we're right next to Marie Antoinette's home, and people who come here, they've had enough of being in buildings in Paris. They want to be in the suburbs.
Donc une grande partie des gens qui viennent s'installer actuellement ici, c'est plus tellement des gens qui sont assimilés ou loin du judaïsme, mais c'est des gens qui cherchent à donner à leurs enfants un cadre de vie avec un joli décor. Maintenant, l'antisémitisme en France fait qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui font effectivement leur aliyah, mais il faut pas oublier que la France est un pays avec 600 000 juifs. Donc même si on imagine une aliyah de masse, c'est une aliyah de 100 000 personnes potentiellement, et c'est que des gens religieux. Les autres sont français, et ils se disent français. Et ils cherchent pas à habiter en Israël.
So that with 600,000 Jews in France, even though there are people doing Aliyah, it's still not significant. There's still people who are going to live here, who are looking for, and those who are moving to La Salle Saint Cloud today are people who want a Jewish home for their family and a Jewish atmosphere. Also, you said thanks to Corona?
Even if all the Jews will go to Israel, all the Jews, it's only 100,000 people. It's not 600,000. Most of them have no connection with Israel. Are very French people.
Even though they have a very close connection to Israel.
So
Israel's our Miami, if you want.
So being
We see some French over here also in Quebec because it's easy to come from France to Quebec. We see some French, not massive numbers, but there's quite a few families, a few hundred families, most probably. But I'd love to hear, and what you're talking about is life in France today, actively. Like you have a school, you have a community building. You say more people want to get more involved in Judaism. Has the whole issues that the Jews are dealing with anti-Semitism or the Muslims, has it driven more Jews to want to become more Jewish or want to become more involved in the community? Or it makes many Jews think I want to hide and not stand out? What is sort of the response you see and you hear from other shluchim?
on va répondre que les Juifs traditionnalistes sont plus attachés et les autres sont plus éloignés. The traditional Jewish have more connection to the community, but all the others are getting farther.
But also people are putting, the schools are thriving, the Jewish schools are thriving because most people are taking their children out of the non-Jewish school system and putting them into Jewish schools.
To be in public school for a Jew today is very difficult.
Like 25 years ago, and even less than that, a lot of Jews were in the public school system, and they were okay with that. Chabad, Yantif,
We have numbers. 30,000 Jewish kids are in Jewish school, 30,000 in public school, 30,000 in Christian schools.
Right, in Catholic schools.
Private Catholic.
Yeah, private. Because they don't have, in the Catholic school, they don't have to do religion, but they're put there for...
So we are fighting for the 60,000.
Wow. So your school is growing, and I'm sure have schools or shuls been closing, or like you said, life is going on. The majority of Jews are there. The majority of Jews are involved in some way, and the community feels strong and together. And
what's closing are like this far out, like the Provence area shuls where there's like older. It used to be like old Ashkenaz communities where nobody's left there anymore, like lawns or things like places that are very far out and don't have much going on. Those communities are closing up. But in the big cities, all the communities.
Paris is getting far more Jewish, all suburb of Paris also. But the big cities near Paris, like Sarcelles, Créteil, you have a lot of Aliyah there.
Yeah, they like Sarcelles was called the Little Jerusalem, and it had there's a lot of Aliyah over there. And a few years ago, we had a lot more Aliyah than now. Calm down. Every time it gets crazy in Israel, or there's friction between the Jews and Arabs in Israel, we always feel it here.
Mhm. So that's incredible. We know that the Rebbe gave a lot of great blessings to France, to Rabbi Azimov, and what's happened in France in terms of the Jewish community becoming so strong and so much Judaism available, schools, restaurants. There's so many Bali Tshuva, so many people becoming religious, and it's not only Chabad, and now today many others. Is that still something that's going on that you see very strong, that Judaism is getting stronger? People are the growth of people eating kosher and being involved. Is that something that's generally, I see in your community, you're doing incredible building. I mean, even here in Montreal, a new school hasn't opened up in a very long time. So it's an incredible.
A few Jewish schools opened this year.
Many shluchim open schools this year.
Yeah.
This is 5 last year because
there's a need.
Il y a un besoin, il y a une demande, mais il faut changer les mentalités. We have to change the mentality of the people. It's not easy. It's a lot of ashka. You have to invest a lot. But you have in front, for example, the Sunday school. I'm very against the Sunday school. For me, Sunday school should be only for 1 or 2 years maximum. After, you have to put these children in Jewish school.
We always used to close up our Talmud Torah and start again the next year with new kids because we try to push the families to send their kids to Jewish school.
How many children you have this year in Talmud Torah? I have 6. Next year, 6. Why? Why not 100? Because for us, it's being, comment on dit, un échec.
I can't remember the word in English.
She doesn't speak French.
What?
An échec means a fallout. It's a fall. No,
Like
A failure.
Like
a failure. Thank you.
To have children more from 2 years on your Sunday school, it's not atzlacha. You have to bring them to Jewish school.
So let me ask you, talking about Jewish school. So is Jewish school expensive? And if what happens if someone can't afford Jewish
For the
school?
parents or for me?
Both. But
So
for
it is
things,
expensive.
obviously for parents, for people who you want to send to Jewish school, how does it work? Is it expensive? Does the community help? Is there organizations that help parents send the kids to Jewish school?
Azorim bedima berina ektzor. You have to fight. You have no subvention. If your school is with the state, with the government, you can have all you chol, the secular, being paid by the government.
Like here, like in Montreal.
Right.
Yeah, but you have to have on each class 22 children, at least 22 children, and you have to wait 5 years to start making the demand. So I have a few years still.
But no, people who cannot afford school in general, we always find a solution for them. And even in the parish schools, they do have digressive prices, and we are for us it's a lot of money, but we're way cheaper than the American prices.
Yeah.
But also our paychecks are much lower.
Right.
Let's say a child has to pay between the kid children are paying between
3,000,
350 and 420 euros
a month.
a month.
Come on.
100.
it's cheaper even than Montreal schools. The Jewish schools in Montreal are about 10,000. In the States, it's much more. Wow, but that's incredible. Now I'm hearing why one of the reasons that Yiddishkeit has been so successful, the attitude that you got to have the real thing. A Jew has to have a full experience. You have to be in Jewish school. You have to, putting kids on a bus. Imagine a family put the kid on a bus for an hour and a half each way, and your children even more. That's incredible. It's not everywhere that type of.
This is the Mesirut Nefesh of the 21st century.
Wow.
So how many? I'm sorry.
Alors oui, c'est beaucoup plus difficile pour les parents que pour les enfants. It's much harder for the parents from children.
How many shluchim are there in France today? Like how many Chabad houses or shul, units, shuls are there in France today? And is it growing? Are the new ones being added all the time, or really it's
In Paris and surrounded, you have 200 under Rav Asimov. You have 270 shluchim.
Wow.
270
That's
shluchim?
just Paris and Ile-de-France,
Yeah,
right?
Ile-de-France.
It's just like Paris and it's the surrounding suburbs, right? But then I think there's like 350 shulchan around all France.
Most of the mikvot in France are Lubavitch. Most of the children in Jewish school are being in 3 big schools. You have the École Schneer by family Carmenton. You have École Sinai by the family Pevsner. And Beis Chayamushka by Asimov.
There's 300.
In Beis Chayamushka, you have almost 3,000 children.
Wow.
You have 2002 by Rav Pevsner. And you have בערך 2008 by family Carmenton, École Schneer.
That is unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, those are big school systems.
Yeah. And then afterwards, you have a lot of shluchim who have smaller schools.
Right. And those are all run by Chabad.
Yeah, those are all in the middle of Paris.
Wow.
But are there many other schools,
Like
Jewish,
schools?
religious?
Yeah, you have all different types
Yes.
of.
You have 4 big Jewish schools. You have École Yavne, very good school. You have Otzar Torah, it's 4 schools. You have Lucien de Hirsch. Lucien de Hirsch is very old school, Jewish, 70 years or 80 years old, the school. And you have Maimonides. This is the 3 schools
They're more,
we
more
had in
traditional.
Paris, even before Lubavitch, from 50,
Yeah.
60, 80, 90 years old.
Are any of these part of the Alliance?
Alliance Israélite Universelle? It's not this group.
Their schools are smaller.
Yeah.
Their
No,
schools
you,
are.
you have today Alliance are strong also. Pavillon sous bois, you have two places where you have also big school of Alliance.
Alliance started to become a little bit more religious.
A lot more.
A
much
lot,
more.
yeah. Because it was before they took anybody in, and now it's changed.
That is unbelievable. How is it that Paris and France has so many restaurants? I was even in Strasbourg for a wedding, and not a massive city, but they had quite a few places you can get kosher. How is it that France has so many kosher options to eat?
You can ask the opposite question. How Rashi was here and the Tosfot was here, and in France it's so poor. The story of Jewish life in France started 2,000 years ago. And we have 500 years, very rich from the, comment on dit, le 10e siècle. From Rashi till Rambam was very, very rich. All these places today are empty of Jews. All the Avodat Aborim is finished. You have nothing to find there.
We came upon in
But
Paris.
after the war, you have a big disaster here, and the Sephardic people came to France.
In the
It's
50s.
warm people in the 50s. Warm people are looking for
They wanted to
on
read
the coldest of the French
mentality.
mentality, you need to have some height, some
Warmth.
Armenkeit.
Yeah, because after the war, the Jews basically were inexistent. All the Ashkenazim were killed, or the French
Assimilated.
Ashkenaz very assimilated because there's so little Ashkenaz Jews after the World War II, and so when the Jews were kicked out of Tunisia, like at the end of the 50s,
Algeria, Tunisia,
Algeria and
Morocco,
Tunisia, they were all being kicked out. They all came to France, and there was
nothing.
nothing, right? And slowly, they and
So
because Sephardim are very, very, in general, are very connected and very traditional. Everybody has like, when I started working in the mikvah, I remember a mom came to the mikvah with her daughter who was like 7 or 8. It was something I couldn't even imagine in America, seeing a Ashkenaz mom bringing her kid to the mikvah with her. And they just bring, everyone, the tradition is so important. It doesn't matter what age, the kids are already immersed in the Jewish traditions. So if you go to a restaurant in America, when you go to a restaurant, you see from religious-looking people in a kosher restaurant. When you go to a restaurant in France, doesn't matter what the person looks like, but they're attached to their religion, and so the look may not be there, but they eat kosher, and kosher is important for them.
Yeah, listen, we have in Montreal, and we're very proud. We have a big part of our community are Sephardi Jews. A lot of them Moroccan. Here you have a lot of the Moroccan Jews who have come. A lot of them are online here now, watching or on Facebook, and tremendous tradition. Those countries you mentioned, Tunisia, Morocco, there's a lot of tradition. The other Sephardic countries is a little bit different. They didn't have as strong
because
tradition as these countries.
Because Algeria was very French, so the assimilation started very early. In Tunisia and Morocco, not. Some lady, Cathy, is asking about anti-Semitism in France.
Yes, we wanted to know about that as well. We were going to get.
So I will just show her what's anti-Semitism in France, just for one example.
Oh. We get sometimes weekly or monthly reminders. This happened. This is what we got at home.
This is.
Oh no, this way.
Anti-Semitism in France.
Juif et COVID, même combat. So this
is the same like fight.
So this paper, go ahead, tell them what happened with this.
So this paper came to me not by an anti-Semitism, but by my neighbor who's Muslim from Kosovo. And he came last week very
He was
perturbed.
totally shook up, yeah.
So the guy who wanted to curse us, he put on his garden, he made a mistake.
He thought it was, they obviously thought they messed up the house and they put it in the neighbor's garden.
And he came to us very, very messed up. He was totally, he didn't understand.
They were shaking.
Shaking. His wife, his child. So this is the kind of anti-Semitism we have in France. It's very, comment on dit, très lâche. C'est des gens lâches.
They're not people who are brave. They're going to do it behind your back. They're not going to tell you. The French, we're talking about the French now. We're talking about the French are going to do it behind your back. They're not going to come up and tell you dirty Jew or something like that. They'll leave you messages on your car, throw eggs on your door, like little subtle messages. And this time,
like the Chazir was showing you is nice, but he's not nice.
Yeah.
And the other community, the Arabs, most of the time, you will not have problem with them only if you have groups. Pardonnim, c'est des peureux, donc ils s'attaquent que lorsqu'ils sont en groupe. And sometimes you have one crazy guy who can curse you on the street and nobody will move.
with this letter that we had received, the neighbors were shocked, and I said to them, we have it happens to us often. We're basically used to seeing that.
Wow.
So now that we're talking about anti-Semitism, could you tell us how shaken the community was after the event with Sarah Halimi?
It started already with Ilan Halimi.
the Alimi name, it's a long story. It's already two Alimi in France who's being killed. You have Sarah Alimi, and you had also Ilan Alimi. Ilan Alimi, it's 5 years or 7 years ago. A young boy was kidnapped and tortured for many days.
And he was
And
burnt.
it was Shemishma. And 3 years ago, with Sarah Alimi. Let's say, we have the comment on dit l'impression?
The impression.
We have the impression nobody really care. Everybody's talking about the subject, but nobody really care. The government, yes. The police, yes. People on the street also. The media are talking about it, but nothing will change. It will not make any difference. You have too many pressure of 6 or 7 or 8 million people to be sure to have comment on dit, une réaction forte du gouvernement. Il y a
The
pas-
government are cowards. That's what they are. They're afraid because they're afraid that they're going to say something, then they're going to incite everyone else to continue doing things. We should have more incidents. Basically, when it happened with Sarah Lima, it wasn't even on the news. Nobody spoke about it. 3 years, it was quiet. The only people, it was on Facebook, on the Jewish groups, but nobody was talking about it.
It's like Facebook. Only the one who's connected to you knows, but all friends, nobody care.
And nobody was talking about it. It's only now that the court case or the court, but because the judges when it came out against the community and then giving the murderer freedom, basically, that people started screaming about it. But the Jewish community was talking about it, but the news was not covering it. And most people say it's because the government are afraid to if they're going to talk about it, then there's going to be copycats and there's going to be more murders or more.
We don't have problem with the government. We don't have problem with the police. We have problem with the judgment.
Right.
Yeah.
Like basically, they're gonna put out a new law now to protect, called something like the law of Sarah Alimi. But now it's too late because once it was already acted, there's nothing they can do to change the judgment.
But every time it's starting with Jews, after it's the French police and after it's French people. It's starting with Jews. Today, another policeman was killed.
And last week also.
And last week also.
Oh, really?
So the French people are starting to wake up. That's one thing. The French people have had enough of the Arabic influence, the religious extremists.
But if it's Jews, it will not move.
Yeah, it was it was very shocking when Sarah Alimi was killed and nobody was talking about it. And all the Jewish groups were screaming about it, but it still wasn't getting coverage.
Malheureusement, le hors la goïm, des fois c'est par le choshech. Souvent, on doit changer les lois parce que les juifs ont souffert. Et donc on change les lois pour les autres. On n'a pas changé pour le juif. On doit changer la loi pour le jugement sur la drogue et sur autre chose. Donc il y a un juif qui a été tué, les juifs y payent et les autres y bénéficient. Et toute la vie c'est comme ça. Depuis Yetziat Mitzrayim c'est comme ça. Le monde a évolué en fonction des souffrances des juifs. On a crevé la nuit parce qu'il y avait la souffrance des juifs. Après on peut laisser les juifs tomber, c'est pas grave. Mais le juif c'est toujours celui qui va être le laboratoire sur lequel le monde s'entraîne et avec lequel on va changer les formules. Le résultat, c'est d'avoir un monde meilleur, mais souvent, c'est sur notre compte à nous. Tu veux traduire? Traduis?
You don't have to translate everything. Most people understand.
Most people understood. I'll tell it to him after.
Okay.
So today, a Jew in France. You know, I was once flying years ago. I was flying to Seattle when I was more involved in business. And I was sitting, I got upgraded to first class. I was sitting next to a fellow. He happened to be a Tunisian Jew who at one time, and I forget his name now, he was like the CEO of Air France. And he was telling me that the Jews in France are able to hold very high positions. In many places, Jews have high positions. is that still true? A Jew in France could be in any business and could get hired and be in good positions even today?
Our president spokesman is a Jewish. What's his name?
Atal, but
Atal.
our president was being built by someone. His name is Jacques Attali. Jacques Attali is a very big, comment dire, un grand penseur.
A big thinker,
Yeah, big thinker.
Philosopher, yeah.
Philosopher. And he built Macron, the president.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, but in that's why the Arabs are always saying how the Jews have taken over France, because there are Jews in very high positions.
And I have to say, the French people, it's the only community in the world where the Sephardic people are very strong position.
It's true.
Les Sephardim, ils ont une très grande... ils sont très intégrés dans la société. Israël n'a pas réussi à faire ça.
Right. The Sephardim in France have very high positions. Like usually in America, you see most of the time that those who have the high positions in the government have Ashkenaz last names. Where in France, it's not all like that. When the Sephardim came to France, their parents put them into good schools. The education, like in any Jewish community, is very important, and they push their children to go to the highest, into the best schools, and they have very high positions in the government.
Le président Chirac, il a écrit un livre quand il a quitté son poste, et il disait que lorsque n'importe quelle communauté s'installe quelque part, musulmane ou chrétienne, la première chose qu'ils font, c'est de construire un temple ou de construire une mosquée. Quand un juif, il arrive quelque part, il commence par construire une école. Et ça représente vraiment la mentalité des juifs.
So President Chirac, when he came, once said that when a ethnic community comes, or a Catholic or a Muslim community comes somewhere, they're going to right away build a church or a mosque. When Jewish community comes, right away they build a school.
Veshinantam Levanecha is very strong by us.
Wow. To teach the children.
Wow,
Educate the children. Wow.
that's incredible to hear. So that's beautiful. So so what are the main things? Obviously, a school is a big project, and what else goes on as leaders in a community? You're the shliach, you're shluchim, you're the rabbi, the rebbitzin. Tell us what life. Where's your efforts put into in terms of on a regular basis? What's going on in the Jewish community, in your community?
The program.
I will be differently. A few years ago, I wanted to open a Jewish a kosher store. So I asked my mashpia, Rabbi Yazimov, if I should open a store. He told me no, because it's not your, comment on dit, c'est pas ta,
Not
c'est
your
pas ton
job.
rôle.
Right.
Not your mission.
It's not my mission. So I said, but I think he could open my community. He told me, you're right, but you have to find somebody, not you. So we did not open, and we had a couple of two non-Jewish people, the wife and the husband. And the husband, his father was Jewish, but he was coming every day on Yom Kippur. So one time, someone told him, how long you, comment on dit, tu vas te moquer de toi-même, you make a fool of yourself?
How long are you gonna make a fool out of yourself?
You are Jewish or you're not? You say, I am not, but my father is. So you want to be or you don't want to be? You say, I want to be. So slowly, he started coming every Shabbos, and his wife. And a few years ago, he had already Kuvar, Khalifa, Sirtuk, get married. Jewish family, normal.
It became a Lubavitch couple.
Normal Lubavitch couple. And he told me, maybe we should open a kosher store. I said, go ahead. So he opened it. And this is many, comment on dit, une grosse activité de la communauté.
It's a very big
Community.
yeah.
Ça a vraiment changé. Ça a changé toute la ville de la Salle Saint-Cloud today. You're driving
It had
on
a
the
very big
city.
impact, yeah.
You're driving on the city of La Salle Saint-Cloud today. You see people with kippot looking for a million. Very change art. My position or my, comment on dit, mon opinion. c'est que notre rôle à nous, our tafkid, our mission, it's to give to people. And you cannot give only with discussion. You have to sit with people and learn with people. So you have to have many shiurim, a lot of shiurim. Sometimes with 5 people, sometimes with one guy, sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 50, but every day you have to have at least 2-3 shiurim with people. Because you cannot change your community if the people themselves are not changing their, comment on dit,
Their way of life.
their way of life et leur entourage, leurs alentours. This is the only atzlacha I see in my community. Giving, it's learning. Limud Torah change everything. Change people, change couple, change children, change the whole city change. Only because the shiurim.
We started also a lot with door to door. We used to do door to door, like check out names. When I just came here, my husband said to me, open up the yellow page and find Jews. So I opened up the yellow page, like, I don't see any Jews, anything. And I was looking for,
Berkovich,
I was looking for
Yankelevich,
Horowitz,
Ashkenaz.
Lipsker, Goldstein, Goldman. I said, there's no Jews in South St. Cloud. And he goes, what do you mean? And he looks next to me and he starts telling me all these Friday names. I didn't even know those names existed. I couldn't find them at all. Exactly. I had no idea that Aziza was Jewish or
Abibol,
yeah, all these, I had no idea. Didn't know these names. And he's like, what do you mean? Look, there's so many Jews here. And then we just used to go for the beginning, like really do a lot of door to door. And a lot of our main community today are people who we did door to door.
Wow.
And then from then,
Right.
yeah, and then from there, we have the young couples who today are from couples, like the women having their head covered and like.
we had also a big issue every time somebody became frum,
Religious, they want to move.
religious. He left.
Yeah, we had a ton.
I have
We have tons of
dozens of
people in
family who moved
Israel.
to Israel.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was very hard because every time you finally get yourself a nice minion going, they would leave.
Right.
But right now with Corona, because people were scooped up in apartments, a lot of Jews who live like right outside Paris or inside Paris in apartments wanted to buy houses. So we have 5 new couples who moved here, and it brought a whole new dynamic.
Wow.
And
Josh,
every
wow.
week I hear from somebody who wants to come live here. I don't know if I'm the family of Sidi Bayalouche. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody asked if he was part of.
I am the family of Sidi Fred Jalimi. This is I know.
One second. There's an Alush that lives at who used to translate.
South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know him.
That he's from Sidi Bayalouche. He's my cousin.
Okay.
Are you related to that Alush?
Non.
Yes, I am.
A priori, je les connais bien. I know them well. But je sais pas.
Our kids met in camp. But
So maybe some people here who are listening want to ask a question, and there's so much. Everyone focuses on the Muslims, the anti-Semitism, but just listening, there's so much happening there that I think I'm envious. I mean, to hear a community opens up, there's a kosher store, they're opening up a new school, people walking in the streets Shabbat, and it's incredible to hear. And this is only one suburb, and they said so many other shluchim that their friends are opening up schools. It's a whole part of France life that people don't realize it's happening, and we read the papers or hear something. So if anyone has a question, or anyone who has been in France before or lived in France wants to ask a question,
So
please.
Kathy had a question. So what's the story? Is there security by the schools or not?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
No.
We
have cameras. We
had security. The government give a lot of money to put security in school, in Jewish school, shul.
It stopped this year, right?
The government's giving a budget to buy cameras and everything, but today we have no more soldier, no more police.
Wow.
After the Bataclan, after the bombing of the Bataclan, there was a lot of, and the Hyper Kasher, we had soldiers in front of the shul for a long time. And I think right before Corona had happened, they pulled back on security. So now you have army cars that drive around They do some spot checking, but there's nothing. It's not at all like before. There's very little security.
And to be honest with you, my children today are traveling to Paris to the school.
By train.
My little daughter of 11 years old and the other one who's 14 years old, every day traveling by train to go
Wow,
there and come back. Baruch Hashem, we never had any problem.
wow.
I think it's important for people to hear this because
Yeah.
Yeah.
obviously they hear a lot of different things. Beautiful. Any other questions? You can raise your hand and unmute yourself. If you have a question, just announce your name.
There's also areas that you're not going to go to,
Right.
Yeah, obviously. Everywhere.
outside of Paris. Right, exactly. I would feel okay going, but I won't go with him.
Let people know, Rabbi Mendy. You walk around with the hat like we walk around
Completely.
course.
wherever you go.
Ever again.
And the Bachram go on Friday and all around Paris and do Mivtzayim.
Wow.
And they walk around with their hat. They're not hiding.
Completely.
Of course.
Beautiful.
Good.
My kids have never taken off their hat because or wore a baseball cap because they were afraid. Ever.
Wow.
Wow, that's important.
We have also many of nice reaction of people. Sometimes just walking on the street, people are very, comment on dit, Rahman. We don't need the Rahmanis, but people are very
People
nice.
came up once.
Very
and
friendly
said,
and nice. But France is not a religious country. The Goyim also, the non-Jews also left religion mostly. They're not religious, very secular. It was the first place that made a law. We also have a law about the
Separation between state and...
Yes, we have a law
Interesting.
that someone works for the government and certain positions
You're
can't
not allowed to
wear
wear a
a head covering. France was the first one that made that type of a law.
And maybe we'll continue with the Shechita, who's going to be probably forbidden in Europe.
Really, all over
Yeah.
Europe, it's in France as well.
No, it's Europe. It's not French.
Yes, the European Union that's doing
It's
that.
the European Union.
Really?
They
Wow.
have a risk about Shechita and Bris
Yeah.
Milah.
Brit Milah as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Wow.
Wow. So how do the Jews deal in the European Union to try to lobby for, is there an organized Jewish lobby in the European Union?
Yes. But my head is not on this thing. You have...
I'm just asking, yeah.
Yeah, you have other people who are fighting for these issues like Machon Aleph from Rabbi Margolin.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You have the consistoires Zarabanut Arashit
yeah.
from France and all over Europe. Yeah,
Wow.
Isn't Lubavitch also there? Chabad's also there.
no,
Manismana? What is he
No.
doing? No?
Anyway,
Manismana?
Beautiful.
does anyone have any questions? If you have any questions,
Question,
raise your
statement,
hand or unmute yourself, say your name.
Can I have a question?
sure, just say your name, please, yeah.
Rose.
Yes.
Rose Tabag. I just want to know, like, they have so many Jews, like about 700,000, he said. How come they're still there? I mean, with all the anti-Semitism and everything that's happening, how come they're still staying there? I can tell him in French also the question. Comment ça se fait qu'il y a tellement de Juifs qui restent en France, il y a tellement d'antisémitisme et de problèmes?
parce que nous sommes français, madame.
And the French are very patriotic.
Nous sommes français. N'oubliez pas que les Juifs algériens sont français depuis la loi. Ça remonte à plus de 300 ans, 200 ans. Les Juifs de France ne quitteront pas la France comme ça. Et les Juifs de France aiment à se sentir français. Et les Juifs de France, ils ont plutôt une grande reconnaissance de la France, qui les a aussi accueillis.
Ouais.
En même temps, il faut être honnête. Il n'y a que les gens qui fréquentent les synagogues qui sont intéressés de faire leur aliyah. Les autres, ils cherchent à s'assimiler.
Right.
Ils sont juifs, mais pas forcément qu'ils le montrent, pas forcément qu'ils le sentent, pas forcément qu'ils l'expriment. C'est très difficile pour eux d'accepter et de penser que la France est dangereuse. Et moi, je pense un peu comme eux. On peut pas quitter le bateau. On n'a pas le droit de céder. C'est pas parce que il y a une immigration musulmane en France qu'on doit quitter. Il faut savoir que l'Europe est comme ça, c'est pas que la France. On parle beaucoup de la France parce qu'il y a beaucoup de juifs. Mais vous allez en Suède, c'est pire. Vous allez en Angleterre, il y a des endroits où ça s'appelle Londonistan. Donc nous, on s'estime plutôt bienheureux d'avoir encore l'État. Il faut savoir qu'aujourd'hui, on touche pas un juif dans la rue parce que sinon tout le monde crie. L'État crie, la police crie. Je dis pas que les journalistes crient. À l'époque, c'était l'État qui tuait les juifs. Donc on se donne l'impression, probablement, qu'on est en sécurité. Je crois en ça, j'espère.
It's isolated incident. It's not every single day that you're living with anti-Semitism on your shoulders.
Sachez
It
que
happens.
un juif qui est français, qui est touché, la semaine d'après, c'est un français qui est touché. C'est immédiat. C'est immédiat.
Right. Oh,
On est le premier, on est le point de départ, et ensuite ça glisse, et on nous oublie à nous, il passe aux autres. C'est la règle.
also like the killing in Toulouse when they came
Oui,
to the
comme à
Jewish
Toulouse.
school, they killed the
Ils ont tué
children
un policier, ils ont tué 2 soldats.
right after the killing of Toulouse. Right?
Copycat.
Mais un juif, il ne doit pas vivre avec l'antisémitisme. Nous, on vit avec Dieu, on vit avec la Torah, on vit avec les mitzvot. En Russie, c'était pire. L'antisémitisme d'aujourd'hui, c'est anodin par rapport à ce qu'il y avait hier. Le monde d'aujourd'hui n'a jamais été un monde aussi beau que celui qu'on vit. Aujourd'hui, c'est le gouvernement qui paye pour qu'il y ait des écoles juives. Aujourd'hui, on encourage les enfants d'aller dans les écoles privées. Aujourd'hui, un juif peut ouvrir une choule quand il a envie. Aujourd'hui, il peut faire la brit mila quand il veut. Donc, faut pas oublier que l'antisémitisme, certes, il est important, mais c'est rien par rapport à ce qu'il y avait il y a 50 ans. À l'époque, je vous rappelle, c'est Vichy qui a déporté les juifs. C'était le gouvernement.
Wow.
C'est quoi le pourcentage de religieux versus les gens qui sont assimilés?
Est-ce qu'il y a un gros
Any
pourcentage de
other,
rejet?
Je peux demander, non? Et
any
c'est quoi
other
le
question?
pourcentage? Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yuval
What's your name?
Abenaim.
Introduce yourself.
Yuval Abenaim.
Oh, Yuval, yes.
How are you, Rabbi?
Very
So
good.
what's the percentage? You mentioned that the majority of the Jewish, they feel that they're French, and they're not religious, and only the people in the synagogue. So what's the percentage between the religious community that goes to the shul and they feel connected to the Jewish religion versus the one that feel that they're not connected and they want to get assimilated? Because like in the US, the biggest problem is assimilation.
Let's say in France too, not like in the US. I cannot give you percentage on Jewish school. I can give you because I'm working on Jewish school. But I can tell you one thing. First of all, Jewish people are not we cannot go on statistic. Even if I'm telling you you have 600,000 Jewish, you have probably at least the same amount of people who don't know they are Jewish. Most of Ashkenazim for this part. Maintenant, ce qui est important quand je vous dis ça, c'est que
Talking English.
few years ago, I remember
Take French if it's more easier for you to express yourself. Don't worry.
Rabbi Adin Shenzalz came to France 3 years ago, and we had a big meeting with all the shluchim of Paris with Rabbi Azimov. And let me tell you, we was very proud from the work we did in Paris. It was very nice. And he asked us, "You are happy from what you did?" We say, "Of course." So you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed because you have more Jewish people outside from inside the synagogue. You have more Jewish children on Goyish school from Jewish school. You have more people who are eating not kosher for people who are eating kosher. So you should be ashamed if you are happy from your work.
There's a lot of work still to do, but a credible army of shluchim, rabbis, and other people who are trying to keep Judaism strong and stronger. It's an incredible.
Kashrut and education, it's very high. Everybody's invest in kashrut and education in France. This is the two main things. We should invest, I think, also on Tarat Mishpacha, on Mikveh, on Shalom Bayit.
They've gotten very much. The Conservatoire of Paris has pushed more now. Lately, that you have to do real Taras Mishpacha preparation if you want to get married. So usually they'll send them out to the different shluchim, and they're doing try to do new certification for the people who prepare the women who prepare the girls for a wedding. But besides the fact that we've always been pushing that the women should do the Taras HaMishpacha, the family purity preparation courses before the wedding, but the consistoire now pushed. They've taken our way of. They've like adopted the Chabad way of asking the girls to actually go to school, and they have to have, when they come to their wedding, they have to come up with a signed paper saying that they actually, a certificate saying that they actually did courses besides just going to the mikvah.
And you should not forget of almost 50% of the Jewish people who are living to Israel are coming back after a year.
Yeah, there's a lot of return.
It's very difficult to live there. If you're French, it's very difficult.
The mentality is very
To
different.
find a place in Israel, it's very difficult. And the problem is if the comment on dit appelle les responsables communautaires.
If the
If the Rabbanim are leaving France to go to Israel, it's making the Jewish community even
Less.
people
Yeah.
poor,
Weaker.
weaker.
Yes,
Yeah.
weaker.
I don't speak English anymore. I speak Fringlish. So, and at 2:37 in the morning, my brain is like mush.
You look more awake
Than me.
than we.
Than us.
So because I see the way you're talking, how you're really your energy and the great work you're doing, and the shlichut of the Rebbe is really incredible, and I'm sure similar to you, so many of the other hundreds of shluchim around, and people, and the Jewish community is incredible to hear, and I hear France is opening up. They say we
Yeah,
so France is
Finally,
for tourism.
Yes.
we finally can travel to the Rebbe.
So God willing, hopefully this June, if anyone wants to go to visit France, I could give you their info. They'll take care of you. They're incredible people. They'll guide you where to go, what to get, what to do. They'll have you for Shabbat. And, she'll be able to help you with everything you need there, Brandy and Rabbi Mendy together.
Brandy Sunshine,
Yes, and Brandy will bring the sunshine to everyone over there.
like always.
Yeah,
Exactly.
beautiful. We want to thank you. We kept you up so
Yeah,
long.
we kept you up so late. I really feel so bad, and I'm so grateful that you guys did
Yes.
this.
this is exciting just to get to see you. It's worth it.
I know. For me, I'm so excited to
Exactly.
see you.
And-
Forget about the rest of the Zoom, right?
Especially that this year no one was able to go to New York for the
Yeah, for the gathering.
of the women, the shluchas. But we want to thank you. We want to thank everyone for joining. And I know I see from the faces everyone really was very
Into it and
pleased to hear and inspired. And I think you opened up a lot of people's eyes as well to what's really going on there. And Hashem should give you strength to continue in your work, in your school, and your shul, and your community should grow. And soon all of our communities should come to Israel together with Mashiach very quickly. So thank you so much again.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Merci beaucoup d'avoir
Brandy, we
Thank you.
could Zoom or FaceTime more often,
Merci beaucoup d'avoir pris le temps d'écouter l'histoire d'une petite communauté de la Selle Saint-Cloud. C'est un petit trou en France et qui, j'espère, va pouvoir jaillir autour de nous et faire des grandes choses.
Amen.
Vous êtes de Montréal, c'est pas la même ville que la Selle Saint-Cloud. C'est un autre monde.
Yeah. Wow.
Tzlacha rabba.
Yeah.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
thank you all. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Brandy. Thank
And
you all, my
next-
dear friends, for
and-
coming on.
And next week, we're going to be with the rabbi from Hebron, Israel.
Oh, wow.
And look out for all the great things we're going to be doing for Shavuot. Look on the emails on Facebook. We want people to get involved and to be able to celebrate as we come closer.
And if
So be
anybody
well.
wants to volunteer, please give myself or Rabbi Zalmi a call. We need a lot of volunteers to either help pack in a safe way or deliver. We're going to be giving out 1,200 bags for Shavuot.
Wow.
Lots of goodies in there. So if anyone
I want
you want one, we'll FedEx it to you. If anyone would like to volunteer, please don't hesitate. You all know my number or how to get me.
Thank
I
you.
love you all.
Thank you. Good night.
All too.
Good night.
Thank you.
Very well.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
The bottom, all right, bottom right.
Tadaraba.
Tadara
See
bye,
you.
everyone.
Bottom right.
Thank
Merci.
you.
Thank you.
Hold on.
What?
I love you.